Good morning.
Hope you're well and everybody is well. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-da-dum, bum bum bum, ba-dee-da-dum. Okay. All right. Welcome, folks. How is everybody?
Well, thank you.
Wonderful. Great. Okay. Well, welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure, as always, to share with you the Tanya. We welcome aboard Diane in London, Ontario. Rusty is in Texas with us, and John in North Carolina. Natalie, good morning to you in, not certain, but good morning. Jonathan, welcome. Julia in Pennsylvania. Nizara is in Arkansas. Manuela in South Germany. Eugenia in Calgary. Good morning. Scott is with us and also in Texas. Moshe is in Arizona. Joseph, welcome to you in New Jersey. Eddie is in Washington State. Jackie in Charlotte, North Carolina. Rachel is with us in South Carolina. All right. Hopefully the Tanya will give you a boost too, Natalie. Elliot, welcome. Dam is in Indonesia. King in Chicago. Latushka in the Netherlands. I hope I pronounced that right. Mila sounds easier. Natalie in the North Shore of Massachusetts. Jose is with us. Welcome. In, not certain, Tanya, good morning. We have Clubhouse with us, Vilma. We have the Mama. Beautiful. That's great. Lenise. We have Sandra, welcome. Eliana, Adam, David. Beautiful. Okay, remember today being Sunday, Shabbos class and Sunday class, we're going to do it into two parts. Okay. We begin the 22nd letter. I must tell you that this letter is a difficult one to understand precisely what the Alter Rebbe is coming to tell us. As you will see, he's actually perturbed with people coming to him for blessings or for advice, even more so, when it comes to physical, material, non-spiritual things. And before and after he wrote this letter, people came to him, and he nevertheless gave the advice to people. And as we know with our dear Rebbe, we had gone and asked or wrote in for blessings for physical things, not just spiritual things. In other words, is a sage, a great holy individual, just a mentor and a guide for spiritual things, or also for material, physical things? So this is the question over here, and we will see the exchange, or not the exchange, but what the Alter Rebbe is saying. And again, I put this in in a question. I understand some of the points that the Alter Rebbe is making. They're very clear, but yet, that being said, asking about mundane matters matter to people, and they need guidance and blessings in it. In any case, that's just as a preface. So he begins with, "My beloved, my brethren and friends, out of my hidden love for you comes an overt rebuke." He said, and uses a phrase from Isaiah, "Come now and let us debate." Remember the days of old, consider the years of every generation. Has such a thing ever happened in the past? Where indeed has it become the custom that we don't see in earlier or later sages that they would give advice in mundane matters? Where do we see that? We don't see that in the men of the Mishnah called Tanoim. We don't see that in the men of the Talmud, of the Gemara, called Amarayim, who from them, there was no secret hidden from them. The paths of heaven were clearly illuminated, but yet we don't see that people came to them and asking them for blessings and advice when it comes to mundane issues. But only who did people go to when it came to mundane issues? With actual prophets. As we see, Shmuel HaNavi, Samuel the seer, Saul came to him to inquire about the donkeys that his father had lost. So a prophet, yes, but a great sages of the stature of the Tanoim and Amoraim, of the Mishnah and the Gemara, we don't see this. For in fact, now we don't see it, but he takes it even a step further. All matters pertaining to an individual, except for the words of Torah and for the fear of heaven, which means doing right from wrong, can be only apprehended. In other words, right and wrong is something that we have the jurisdiction. Words of Torah, we have the jurisdiction. But matters that are pertaining to ourselves otherwise, that can only be apprehended by prophecy. And as our sages say, everything is in the hands of heaven except for the fear of heaven, meaning the fear of doing right from wrong. Right and wrong is in our hands. In other words, in the hands of heaven. And only the prophets have the glimpse of heaven. Like and not others. Likewise, 7 things are hidden. No man knows how they're going to earn their living, or when the kingdom of David, when Mashiach will be restored, will actually come. So these questions and other questions are beyond us. Are beyond us. Yeah, talking to sages, right? In Isaiah it says, a counselor and a man's wisdoms are silenced, meaning it sounds like there's a counsel and wisdom to be given in other areas. Also, the statement of the sages that says that someone who learns Torah for its own sake, so then they will be able to give counsel and wisdom. So we see that there is this kind of idea of counsel and wisdom. So the Alter Rebbe says that that's only referring to matters of Torah, to give counsel and wisdom in that area. to determine the months, Rosh Chodesh, and so on and so forth, but not in other areas. So as I mentioned in the outset, that this is, people coming, but yet we see that the Alter Rebbe, and not just the Alter Rebbe, our Rebbe, did give advice. And when you did ask, did give us counsel on what we should do. Health issues, livelihood issues, and the like. So maybe the conclusion is that they're prophets. I think so. Why the Alter Rebbe is still writing this? Perhaps to teach us something that we need to appreciate. And more of that to come. We continue in the 22nd letter, where the Alter Rebbe is admonishing his followers that are seeking counsel, advice, blessings. I don't know, blessings maybe so much, because blessing, we can always bless each other no matter who we are. So yes, blessings. Yeah. Maybe that's also a distinction. Interesting. Advice. So my wife, when she was teaching, before we got married, and she was teaching in a school, she wrote into the Rebbe about it, and the Rebbe responded, "It seems like you're getting too little money." Things turned around over the summer, and she got another, I think, 40% more. I, myself, having 4 wisdom teeth taken out, wrote into the Rebbe, I got a bracha. I only had to take 1 painkiller. When I had bad back, the Rebbe told me, check tefillin and mezuzahs. So we see that our Rebbe does respond to mundane issues, right? Not holy issues like Torah learning or the divine service of God, right? If your back hurts, that's not of a holy matter intrinsically. I mean, it is in the sense that, if it prevents you, but not intrinsically. And therefore he's upset that why are people coming to a Torah sage? Should come to them, not for mundane matters, but for holy matters, matters of Torah, divine service. So now he goes, and digs a little deep into us, his followers. He says, I shall relate the truth to those who are ready to listen to me. He says, love upsets the natural order of conduct, covers over the eyes and prevents people from seeing the truth. Because of the great love that we have for our body, the life of the body, right? Physical life. Now, even though this love is indeed experienced for the sake of heaven, in other words, that we need a healthy body so we can serve God, so that's, what we want, right? But yet, we become extremely irate when the body undergoes suffering. May Hashem show compassion to us, says the Alter Rebbe, right? And therefore, they're not able to bear the pain. And therefore they go and seek advice from afar, meaning going to, to the Alter Rebbe, to Lubavitch, to wherever, to the Rebbeim, to seek, mitigating the pain. But why indeed is God causing the suffering? Right? In other words, it's not about seeking the advice of this Torah sage in order to end the suffering. There's a reason why you have the suffering. So those who seek merely to rid themselves of the physical affliction and not following the proper path of the Torah, they're turning away from God. Because why is God doing this? Why does God bring any suffering? Only to humble us in order that we should return to him. God chastises those that he loves. So we're being chastised in order that we could now humble ourselves and return ourselves to Hashem. That's why it's coming. So instead of seeing the reason for why it's coming, we try to get around it and just, lessen the pain. So instead of getting around it by getting advice from the sage, do tshuva. That's what the Alter Rebbe is saying. That's the end of this class. Short. So, that's understandable, that we shouldn't lose focus for why we have any pain and suffering. God is not doing it, God forbid, to have vengeance. He's doing it because he chastises those that he loves. Just as a parent chastises their own child and not someone else's child. Why not? Because your child you love. You feel responsible. So when they do something wrong and you have to set them straight, you do that. So that's what Hashem is doing to us. So if we take that message and we do tshuva, that would be the appropriate thing the Alter Rebbe is saying. Now, again, we see very clearly that the Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, all of the Rebbeim did help people in their material life, in their mundane matters, whether it was health, whether it was livelihood, as some of the examples that I've given. For me personally, if I'm not mistaken, I think I only wrote in twice for health reasons, for my wisdom teeth and for my back, and I got a response. Now maybe the response was just merely a blessing or advice, check your tefillin mezuzahs, which, by the way, I had just checked 2-3 months earlier my tefillin mezuzahs, and everything was okay. And then I got them checked again, of course, because the Rebbe said so. And there were some problems with my mezuzahs. Got them fixed, and my back got much better. So maybe we have to conclude that, Torah sages are not just Torah sages. Some of them have the status or have the capacity. I don't know, the status maybe the status or not or whatever, but at least have the stature and the capability of prophets. But yet, obviously, the Alter Rebbe wants to teach us something here, that when something happens to us, we should know that there's a reason for it from God, and that should bring us closer to him, not more distant, to do tshuva. Any questions? Any questions? 2 question marks before you ask a question. Okay, Davida, thank you. 2 question marks. Okay, Natalie has a question. What do we do if one of our children do not want to hear what you have to say as a parent? That's a great question. That's a TRC, Tanya Rabbi community response, because you can't just give one swift answer to that. At least I can't. The children don't want to listen. It's a good question. And let's deal with it at another time. Okay. I don't know how to answer that just so simply here. Rebecca, you should be gesund and well. Your mother's name. Gerard, I invited you. Anybody else? No, it's a, Natalie. It's a difficult question in the sense that it's got to be personalized to you. Can't answer for everybody, um, right? That's for sure. We got to be patient. I mean, there's details probably. Leanna, please share. You're mute.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good. I have a friend, and you can say he's ODT, off the Derek, and the reason why is that he believes that his relationship with God is basically God dangling a carrot in front of him, if he's pursuing, various jobs or businesses or just even simple provision for his family, that God dangles this carrot in front of him, and then as he reaches for it, God yanks it back. And that's how he approaches his relationship with, his current relationship with God. And it's something that I've always, I've tried to say, that's not how Hashem works. That's not the relationship we're supposed to have, but that's how he views that relationship with Hashem. I don't even know what my real question is, but maybe how do you address that with someone when they're like, oh, this relationship with a caring parent, is more about, this parent putting something in front of me and then yanking it back and then laughing like, oh, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's, we get that from the world around us, right?
Right.
And it's very easy to perceive things that way. But it takes a lot more fortitude to be able to perceive that that when something is painful, it's because it's coming from a loving place. A child when is perceiving pain from the parent, when the parent is being loving by removing themselves to allow the child to learn to walk, is a loving act, but the child perceives it as a removal of the parent. So it takes a lot of fortitude. It takes a lot of wisdom to appreciate that that's not the case. So I don't know what that's one thing. The second point is that I think the problem is that how we're looking at God as he is our sugar daddy and he's the one who's providing everything for us, which is true, but that's not what Judaism is coming to teach us. Judaism is coming to teach us that God needs us and creates us for a purpose that we need to fulfill over here, to change the world for good. So I am integrally needed in order that I can help in maybe a small little way, but in a small little way is a colossal global way of changing the world for good and bringing redemption to the world. So if we look at it that I'm integral to God's eternal plan rather than, and that's what I'm here for, that changes the mindset, that changes the perspective on things, right? And I'm not here to take, I'm here to give. I'm not here to experience, I'm here to give the experience. That's a very different mindset. And the problem is that most of us are in the taking mode, especially from God. I mean, ultimately, he's the greatest giver and we're the greatest recipient. Makes sense. That makes sense, right? Well, it makes sense if we look at it that way, or we could look at it from God's perspective. No. The reason he created me is that I should give, not that I should be here just to take. Or maybe that's what the Alter Rebbe is coming to say over here is, be in the giving mode rather than the taking. So, in other words, in this instance, do tshuva as opposed to just looking to take. And maybe that's the overall message over here. So the same thing is in your friend is that, you're looking at the carrot, that's something that you want to take. Maybe switch your perspective of the relationship you have with God and taking that really what is that you're needed. You're needed here by God. Well, God needs me. God said, yeah, because only through you doing your mitzvah, right, and each and every one of us in doing the mitzvahs that we need to do, are we contributing to God's eternal plan of changing the world for good and bringing the final redemption, bringing Mashiach. So there's a very different way to look at it, and that's where I'm hoping that I've helped people to change their perspective on this. And that's why the TRC is so integral, because that's where we get to gruntig, that we're able to internalize it and make it real for us and not just, a nice inspiration for the day. Does that help you, Yana?
Yes, thank you so much. That's actually really helpful.
Amazing. All right. Yana is one of our TRCers. All right, folks. Okay. Erev Yom Tov, I want to wish everybody an amazing Sukkot. Jewish people have an obligation to sit in the Sukkah because the Jewish people came out of Egypt, and we have to remember a lot about that we'll forbring more about. And Lulav and Esrog, and to fulfill the mitzvah of Lulav and Esrog tomorrow. Many mitzvahs, and together with all that, it needs to be besimcha, with great joy, because it is Zman Simchasenu. It is a time of our rejoicing. It came from the days of awe. Now we come to the days of joy. So wish everybody a Chag Sameach, a great joyous holiday, and enjoy the mitzvahs. If you don't have, it's incumbent upon Jews to sit in that sukkah and to do Lulav and Esrog. If you don't have, contact your local Chabad to help you get into a sukkah, to be there. A reminder, tomorrow and the following day we will not have a class because of the holiday, and on Wednesday we'll have a triple header. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya Rambam coming up. Thank you for joining. Great day. Chag Sameach.